We good?
Yes.
You gotta know where the short Okay, we would like to call the May 11th Development Commission meeting to order with a resounding pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag. One nation, under God, indivisible. Okay. Do we need to vote on the tabling of case number 4? The motion and everything. Okay, we have a request by the applicant to table case number 4. So I need a motion from. So moved. And a second. All those in favor of tabling case number 4, voice vote? Aye.
It'll be a roll call.
A roll call? Okay, call roll.
Denise D. Shanklin,
Yes.
John Anderson,
Yes.
Dan Woodway,
Yes.
David Carey,
Yes.
Eric Fitzpatrick,
Yes. So it is tabled by us. They have to pay another fee. I'm assuming. Okay. Case number 1. Z19-078. 1515 and 1541 East Fifth Avenue.
The site is developed of a Sun Manufacturing and Sales Facility and M Manufacturing, LM Limited Manufacturing, R3 Residential, and P1 Parking Districts. The site is subject to code violation due to the following: exterior storage of wood pallets and signs, graphics, and lack of zoning clearance. The requested LM Limited Manufacturing District will permit the continuation of the use of a Sun Manufacturing and Sales Facility shop or storage. To the north, across East Fifth Avenue, is a manufacturing development in the M Manufacturing District. To the west of East is manufacturing development in the M Manufacturing District and single unit dwellings in the R3 Residential District. To the south are single unit dwellings in the R3 Residential District. Concurrent CB 19-104 has been filed to Barry to Iowa and to permit the outdoor storage of complete signage and products. That request will be heard by City Council, will not be considered at this Development Commission meeting. Site is within the boundaries of the North Central Plan, which recommends single-family residential land use at this location. The site is located within the boundaries of the North Central Area Commission, whose recommendation is for approval. The limitation text includes supplemental development standards addressing setbacks, landscaping, screening, and signage commitments. The requested LM Limited Manufacturing District will permit the continuation of the use of the sign manufacturing and sales facility with outdoor storage. Although the North Central Plan recommends single-family residential at this location, staff recognizes the site's longstanding industrial use and existing manufacturing zoning to be reasonable circumstances for supporting the request. Planning Division staff encourages the applicant to look for opportunities to add additional landscaping, but does not condition support on that. City Department's recommendation is for approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Traffic.
No traffic issues.
Chris?
No further comments.
And Kathy.
No recreation parks concerns.
Okay, is there anyone here to speak regarding case number 1 tonight? Okay, you have got staff approval and area commission approval. Anything you would like to add?
Great, thank you very much. I'm Dave Perry here as agent for the applicant. Mike, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Mike Hoy, president of Columbus Sign Company, and have been there since 1960. So we love that area real well. So we try to keep it pretty nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, Columbus Sign Company, Hoy Properties has been at the location for 60+ years, and a couple of minor code violation items came up, and we agreed to rezone the various parcels to conform it. So with that, we're ready to proceed.
The code violation that came up is, if you look at our property, we have a grass area at the bottom. Well, above that, there were 4 lots that we purchased in rezoned it to the LM. And we did all that. Took, like several years to get it all set up and all that. And then we did get it zoned. Well, that last lot became available at the last minute. So, talking to, everybody said like, we're never going to build on it. We're not extending the parking on it. What's the point in putting, changing it from residential? Okay, so, that was, I don't know when that was, 75, 80, something like that. Well, about maybe in 2018, I think, Kelsey, I get the zoning violation. And I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking like, okay, I've never had any, other than maybe the lots next door, we keep them cut and all that, but sometimes we get a little too tall. So anyways, I get this zoning violation, and I asked the zoning guy to come in, the inspector to come in, and he comes in and he's reading it, and he can't believe I got that. It was a skid. We put a skid, we were unloading a truck, we put a skid in the grass area. You can't even see it over the fence. We have an enclosed fence around the whole thing. So I don't know. He had said, of course they don't say where the violations come from, and that's fine. But he said there seemed to be a rash of violations in that neighborhood, like somebody's going around and trying to find out what's going on. So anyways, that's how, at that point I thought, let's just get it all rezoned to LM, and, so my kids won't have to worry about it.
I have a thought. Are you behind the dumpster picture, the sign of taking out the trash? Is that you?
I need to do that.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe there's a Michigan fan living right next.
I know, it could have been. Well, we do have home of the Buckeyes along the back fence there.
Could be it.
So Mike has taken care of the pallet and wanted to get the zoning taken care of.
Well, let's take care of Mike and get on to case number 2. I need a motion to vote on this case. So, okay, and John, okay. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, please call roll.
Janice Keith Shanklin,
Yes.
John Ingwerson,
Yeah.
Dan Mukwe,
Yes.
David Carey,
Yes.
Gary Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you are approved.
Thank you. And thank you, Kelsey, for putting all that together. She did that all prior to the pandemic. And that old,
And you've been on this property since you were in a stroller or in a car seat.
Yeah.
I was gonna see if my dad, I think he didn't pay me minimum wage. I want to go back to that.
Okay, we got to go to case number 2.
Thank you.
Z21-091, 103 Fornoff Road.
The 5.5 acre site consists of one undeveloped parcel in the LM Limited Manufacturing District. The site is subject to ordinance 0188-2022, submitted for Ohio Financing Agency OPA funding, which permitted a multi-unit residential development containing up to 175 dwelling units. The applicant proposes the AR1 apartment residential district to permit multi-unit residential development uses as conditioned in ordinance 0188-2022. North of the site are office industrial buildings and an eating and drinking establishment in the M and M2 manufacturing districts. South of the site are single and 2-unit dwellings in the R1 apartment residential district. East of the site is a former school in the CBD commercial plan development district. West of the site is a single unit dwelling and commercial buildings in the CBD commercial plan development district. Concurrent CV 23-025 has been filed and demonstrates a multi-unit residential development containing up to 180 units and includes a variance for reduced perimeter yards. That request will be heard by City Council and will not be considered at this development commission meeting. The site is within the planning boundaries of the Seattle Southland area plan, which recommends light manufacturing land uses. The plan also includes early adoption of the C2P2 design guidelines. The site is located within the boundaries of the far south of Once Area Commission, whose recommendation is for approval. The proposed AR1 apartment residential district will permit multi-unit residential development at this location. The concurrent council variance includes a site plan demonstrating 180 units with a reduced perimeter yard. Although the Seattle Southland plan recommends light manufacturing land uses at this location, staff recognizes the site's proximity to adjacent residential uses and a primary corridor along South High Street, and therefore are supportive of the multi-unit residential development use. The following comments from the Department of Public Service will need to be addressed for full City Department's approval. Upon review and approval of the traffic access study, there may be additional commitments that will need to be added to this application. A commitment to the rezoning ordinance that pavement improvements will be provided within the Fornock Road right-of-way as approved by the Department of Public Service. And a commitment in the rezoning ordinance that a minimum right-of-way width 25 feet from center line will be provided along the Fornock Road frontage. So we are in additional approval with those outstanding comments.
Okay, any questions? Traffic?
The traffic access study has been approved and the applicant has agreed to the pavement improvement and right-of-way commitments in the rezoning ordinance.
Okay, so I get this marked right. You are now in favor of this? Or are you still conditional approval?
I mean, there's still, we'll be in approval once we see the commitments in the ordinance
Okay,
language. David can further elaborate if he needs.
all right. Kathy?
We have no concerns.
Okay, is anyone here to speak regarding case number 2? Going off road. No speakers. David?
All right, thank you. Dave Perry here as agent for NRP Properties and the NRP Group. This site and your number 3 application is a site for a new NRP affordable housing development. They are separate zoning applications just because of the timing of the assemblage of the property. The development is presently permitted by council variances. These are the required follow-up rezoning applications. And yes, the TIS is approved. We have agreed to those conditions. The conditions won't be acted upon until Tim prepares the ordinances, but we're all in agreement on the TIS and the conditions of approval.
Okay, Chris, do you have any comments on planning?
Yeah, planning supports the use and
Okay, you guys changed positions, so you have to wear jerseys with numbers. Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, a motion to vote on this. No vote. John? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, please call the roll.
John Ingerson,
Yes.
Kay Mukwe,
Yes.
David Carey,
Yes.
Janice T. Shanklin,
Yes.
Sheriff Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you're approved. Thank you. Okay, case number 3. Z22-04330 Fornoff Road, close by.
The 2.07 acre site consists of one parcel developed with an eating and drinking establishment in the M Manufacturing District. The site is subject to ordinance number 2000-2022, CV 22-024, submitted for Ohio Housing Finance Agency's funding, which permits a mixed-use development containing 6,000 square feet of commercial space and 80 dwelling units. The applicant proposes the AR1 apartment residential district to permit a mixed-use development as conditioned in ordinance number 2000-2022. North of the site are office industrial buildings in the M Manufacturing District. South of the site is undeveloped land in the LM Limited Manufacturing District and commercial buildings and a single unit dwelling in the CPD Commercial Plan Development District. East of the site are office industrial buildings in the M and M2 manufacturing districts. And west of the site is a manufactured home park in the C4 Commercial District. Concurrent CV 23-025 has been filed and demonstrates a mixed-use development containing up to 65 dwelling units and a max of 6,250 square feet of commercial space, and includes variances for commercial uses, parking space reduction, vision clearance, and reduced building setback lines. That request will be heard by City Council and will not be considered at this Development Commission meeting. Besides, within the planning boundaries of the Scioto Southland Area Plan, which recommends commercial land uses at this location. Plan also includes early adoption of Columbus City by planning policies and C2P2 design guidelines. The site is located within the boundaries of the Far South Columbus Area Commission, whose recommendation is for approval. The proposed AR1 apartment residential district will permit a multi-unit residential development at this location. Concurrent council variance includes a site plan demonstrating 65 units and 6,250 square feet of commercial space with a parking space reduction, reduced vision clearance, and reduced building setback lines. Although the Scioto Southland Plan recommends commercial land uses at this location, staff recognizes the site's proximity to adjacent residential uses and a primary corridor along South High Street and the introduction of a commercial component in addition to the residential use. Following comments from the Department of Public Service will need to be addressed for full city department's approval. Upon review and approval of the traffic access study, there may need to be additional commitments that will need to be added to this application. A commitment in the rezoning ordinance that pavement improvements will be provided within the Fornoff Road right-of-way as approved by the Department of Public Service. A commitment in the rezoning ordinance that minimum right-of-way width of 25 feet from the center line will be provided along Fornoff Road frontage. And the access point to Service Road C will need to be restricted to emergency vehicles only. Therefore, City Department's recommendations for conditional approval. All right. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Comments? Okay. Perfect, Dan.
The traffic access study has been approved and the applicant has agreed to the necessary improvements.
Okay. Chris?
No further comments?
Okay.
No further comments for Recreation Parks.
Okay, is anyone here to speak regarding case number 3 tonight, Fornoff Road? David, again, no speakers. Anything you want to add?
Dave Perry here as agent on behalf of the applicant, NRP Properties and the NRP Group. This is the other component of the total 245 unit affordable housing development, a portion of which is on the south side of Fornoff. The TIS is completed and we are in agreement with the conditions that will be reflected in the ordinances.
Okay, great. Need a motion to vote on this case. So move. I can second. Okay, you guys are getting familiar with this. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, call the roll.
Dale Woodward,
Yes.
David Carey,
Yes.
Denise Key Shanklin,
Yes.
John Ingwerson,
Yeah.
Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you are approved. As stated earlier, we have tabled case 4, so we will go on to case number 5. Z23-005, 1161 Franklin Avenue.
The 0.25 acre site consists of 2 undeveloped parcels in the R3 residential district. The applicant requests the AR1 apartment residential district to permit a multi-unit residential development. The concurrent council variance will be filed demonstrating 7 townhouse-style dwelling units with reduced development standards. North of the site is a multi-unit residential development in the ARLD apartment residential district. South of the site is a commercial building in the R3 residential district. East and west of the site are single and 2-unit dwellings in the R3 residential and ARLD apartment residential districts. Concurrent CV 23-011 has been filed and includes variances to building height, building setback, screening, vision clearance, lot coverage, and side yard. That request will be heard by City Council and not be considered at this development commission meeting. The site is within the planning boundaries of the Near East Area Plan, which does not include a specific land use recommendation for this location. The plan does state that in general, housing types and densities should be consistent with the existing housing types and densities found in the surrounding area. The site is located within the boundaries of the Near East Area Commission, whose recommendation is for approval. The proposed AR1 apartment residential district will permit the development of a multi-unit residential development at this location. A concurrent council variance includes a site plan demonstrating 7 townhouse-style dwelling units. While the Near East Area Plan does not include a specific land use for this site, the proposed use is considered to be compatible with the existing housing types and densities surrounding the site, and therefore we're hearing approval.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Daniel
No traffic issues.
and Chris and planning.
No issue.
Kathy?
No Recreation Parks issues.
Okay. Is anyone here to speak regarding case number 5? I'm sorry, case number 3, Fornoff Road? No speakers for number 5. David?
Yes, thank you, Dave Perry. I'm here as agent on behalf of the property owner and applicant, Shanghai Enterprises. The proposal is the development of the 7 townhouses in an L-shaped pattern wrapping Franklin and Champion, and it's just been spectacularly received at all levels.
Okay, I need a motion to vote on case number 5. So, okay,
Second.
John, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, please call the roll.
David Carey,
Yes.
Denise Key Shanklin,
Yes.
John Ingwerson,
Yes.
Dale Woodward,
Yes.
Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you are approved. Okay, now it looks like Dave, you have more than a hat trick going on tonight. Case number 6, Z23-016, 3245 Morse Road.
The site consists of a 1.98 acre portion of a larger parcel. The site is mostly undeveloped with a former single-unit dwelling in the C4 commercial, LC4 limited commercial, and AR12 apartment residential districts. The requested AR1 apartment residential district will permit a multi-unit residential development at this location. To the north of the site is a multi-unit residential development in the ARLD apartment residential district. To the south are single-unit dwellings in the R2 residential district. To the west is a multi-unit residential development in the LARLD limited apartment residential district. And to the east is a car wash in the CBD commercial plan development district. The current CB 23-023 has been filed demonstrating a 4-story, 60-unit apartment building and includes variances for fronting and to reduce the minimum number of required parking spaces from 90 to 20 spaces provided. That request will be heard by City Council and will not be considered in this Development Commission meeting. Sites in the planning area of the Northeast Area Plan, which recommends low-density and high-density residential land uses at this location. The site is located within the boundaries of the Northeast Area Commission, whose recommendation had not been received at the time the staff report was finalized.
Still don't have anything?
That, as far as I understand it, they were not able to reach a quorum last week.
Okay,
I can explain why we don't.
okay. Go on.
The requested AR1 apartment residential district will permit a multi-unit residential development in conjunction with concurrent council variance CB 23-023 at this location. While the Northeast Area Plan includes a recommendation for both low and high density residential land uses, staff note that the site is located on a high density transit corridor and the proposed use is compatible with the adjacent multi-unit residential development to the west, and consider these to be mitigating factors for the requested higher density within that portion of the site recommended low density residential. While the Department of Public Service requires that a sidewalk connection be provided to the adjacent multi-unit development, staff supports the requested rezoning if the sidewalk connection can be resolved with the current council variance CB 23-023. Therefore, City Department's recommendation is for approval.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, Dan, traffic issues?
Nothing to add to the staff report.
Okay, Chris
No further comments.
and Cass?
No comments for Recreation Parks.
Okay. Is anyone here to speak regarding case number 6, Morse Road? Again, Dave, nobody? Yep.
Very good. You know who I am by now. Lori, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Laurie Sutherland with Community Housing Network. You'd be familiar with CHN. We've been developing affordable housing here for 30 years, and we were on the news Tuesday night for opening a new building. But I would point out that the adjacent apartment there is ours, Dogwood Glen. It was opened in 2010, and we'd be using Dogwood Glen's driveway to access the new project, Deer Hill.
Great.
This is Lori and CHN are very excited that this land became available and are interested in building an additional apartment building next to that current holding on the area commission. The reason we don't have a response is we were on the May 4th commission meeting last week and they did not have a quorum. So they have scheduled a special meeting for May 17th next week. And this application was supported unanimously by the zoning committee, and just timing and the quorum didn't work out on this. So we will have a commission recommendation for staff next week.
Okay, and the usual announcement is that if you get rejected for some reason,
Right.
by then you have to come back and revisit us.
Yep, understand.
We will not hold you up and wish you the best going forward.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, need a motion to proceed with the vote. So moved. Okay, getting this down, man. Okay, please call the roll.
Shanice T. Shanklin,
Yes.
John Ingwerson,
Yes.
Taylor Mukwe,
Yes.
David Carey,
Yes.
Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you are approved.
Very good. Thank you.
You're gonna release that seat now?
I'm gonna let go now.
Okay, case number 7, Z23-015, 1790 Harmon Avenue. Picking Street.
The site was recently annexed into the city of Columbus and consists of one parcel developed with a manufacturing uses zoned in the R rural district and is partially located within the floodplain at the rear of the site. Prior to being annexed into the city, the site was zoned GI, General Industrial District in Franklin Township. The requested M manufacturing district will permit manufacturing uses at this location. To the north of the site is an office industrial building in Franklin Township. To the south is a correctional facility in the M2 manufacturing district. To the east is right-of-way for Interstate 71. To the west is a single-unit dwelling in the M2 manufacturing district and commercial warehouses and office buildings in the M2 and M manufacturing districts. Aside from the planning area of the Southwest Area Plan, which recommends industrial land uses at this location, the plan also includes the early adoption of Columbus Citywide Planning Policy, C2P2 Design Guidelines. The site is located in the boundaries of the Southwest Area Commission, whose recommendation is for approval. The requested M manufacturing district will permit manufacturing uses at this location. Staff support the request as the requested M manufacturing district is consistent with the GI, General Industrial District. The site was zoned prior to being annexed into the city and is consistent with the Southwest Area Plan's recommendation for industrial land uses and is consistent with the zoning pattern of the surrounding area. And for City Department's recommendation is for approval.
Okay, questions, comments? Dan?
Our staff review comments have been resolved, so we have no issues with this application.
Okay, and they're already in writing. Good. Okay. Chris?
No further comments?
And Ken?
No further comments.
Okay, is anyone here to speak regarding case number 7 on Harmon Avenue? Nobody.
We needed a water supply, so we had to annex to the city of Columbus to get our water. So we're here to continue to move forward with the property, and we hope you support our M district in the city of Columbus.
Somebody's got to pay taxes for all these houses. Any questions, comments? Okay, need a motion.
So
Okay, John? Okay, we have a motion. Please call the roll.
John Anderson,
Yes.
Dale Mupwe,
Yes.
David Carey,
Yes.
Janice Keith Shanklin,
Yes.
Jared Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you are approved.
Thank you, folks.
Okay, case number 8. Z22-098 3245 East Fifth Avenue.
The 1.5 acre site consists of 5 parcels developed with an office building and storage industrial yard in the R4 residential district. The requested M manufacturing district will permit industrial and storage uses at this location and will bring all parcels commonly owned by the applicant under one zoning district. To the north are single, 2, and multi-unit residential dwellings in the R4 residential district. To the south and east are industrial and storage uses owned by the applicant in the M manufacturing district. To the west are single-unit dwellings in the R4 residential district. Aside from the planning area, the East Columbus neighborhood plan, which recommends light industrial land uses at this location. The site is located within the boundaries of the East Columbus Civic Association, whose recommendation is for approval. The requested M manufacturing district will permit industrial and storage uses at this location that is consistent with the light industrial land use recommendation of the East Columbus neighborhood plan. The request is consistent with the land use and zoning pattern in the surrounding area, is not considered to be an introduction of an incompatible use. Therefore, City Department's recommendations for approval.
Okay, any questions? Traffic?
no traffic issues.
And Chris? For the comments? Kathy?
No comments.
Great. Is anyone here to speak regarding case number 8, East Fifth Avenue?
If you have a question,
Yes, sir.
it says.
Well, I'll tell you what, come up to the microphone, give us your name, we'll hear what you have to say, and then we'll have the applicant chip in with an answer.
Just had a question regarding the use.
Okay?
It says,
What is your name for the
first name Xavier,
Xavier?
last name Medina. Medina,
Medina.
M-E-D-I-N-A.
Okay.
It says industrial storage. And I don't know exactly what is that supposed to
All right.
encompass.
We'll ask.
Is that any different than what's being done there now? It's a tow yard,
Yeah, it's a tow yard.
so is it any different than what's gonna be done there?
No, it's gonna stay. If anything, they might add some lockers to put when they tow. Sometimes they get personal property, so they're thinking about just adding some lockers.
Okay, but that property is, as you're going eastbound to Stelzer, it's the off ramp, the entrance ramp. So it's everything that's that south side of the entrance ramp.
Just west of Stelzer.
Yeah, west of Stelzer, eastbound to Stelzer, is the entrance ramp, southbound Stelzer.
Yes.
So it's everything south of the entrance ramp.
Correct.
Okay, and it's gonna remain just storage.
You good? Okay, well, you didn't even have to sit back down for that one. Any other questions for the applicant? Anything else you want to add to the staff's presentation?
No, thank you.
Okay, get right to the point. I need a motion. So move, John. You guys are undefeated. Okay, all those in favor of voting? Aye. Okay, please call the roll.
Dan Woodward,
Yes.
David Carey,
Yes.
Denise T. Shanklin,
Yes.
John Ingwerson,
Yes.
Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you are approved.
Thank you.
Okay, case number 9. Z23-006, 5600 Winchester Pike.
In your supplemental packet is an updated limitation text, an updated sub-area plan showing landscaping. The applicant responses to planning and traffic, emails from planning and traffic, and an opposition email from Mark. The 98.6 acre site is undeveloped and pending annexation from Madison Township. Requested ARLD, limited apartment residential district, will permit multi-unit residential development. The site consists of 5 conceptual subareas. Subarea 1 will be for age-restricted housing, and Subarea 5 is dedicated open space. The annexation petition is scheduled to have a hearing before Franklin County Commissioners on May 2nd. Following that hearing, the county must communicate notice to the Columbus City Clerk's office, who in turn notifies the Department of Development to start a 60-day waiting period that's required by state law. The annexation may be accepted after the 60-day waiting period expires. To the north of the site are single-unit dwellings in Madison Township and farmland in the R rural district. To the south are single-unit dwellings in Madison Township and undeveloped land in the NC Neighborhood Center District. To the east is farmland in Madison Township. To the west is undeveloped land in the NE Neighborhood Edge District. The site is within the planning boundaries of the Southeast Land Use Plan, which recommends low to medium density residential and private open space land uses at this location. Additionally, the plan includes complete adoption of the Columbus citywide planning policies design guidelines. The site is located within the boundaries of the Greater Southeast Area Commission, whose recommendation is for approval. That approval had conditions, and those conditions were incorporated into the latest text that's in your supplemental packet. Limitation text commits to concept plan and elevations and includes development standards addressing density, site access, landscaping, building design, lighting, and graphic provisions. The requested LARD, limited apartment residential district, will permit a multi-unit residential development. There are still outstanding comments with planning division and division of traffic management, and I will defer to Daniel and Christopher for those comments. Once those comments have been addressed, staff's recommendation will be updated to approval, but at this time, we are still at conditional approval.
Okay, any questions? Okay, I've got a lot of red ink underlining comments here. Daniel, traffic?
Traffic impact study is in progress in conjunction with this application. The Winchester Pike frontage of the site is under the jurisdiction of the Franklin County Engineer's Office, and the requirements that the county will have for the developer are pending further review. Once the traffic impact study and these requirements are finalized, negotiations regarding development's responsibility toward potential future improvements at the intersection of Gender Road and Winchester Pike will also be completed. There's currently placeholder language in the text that covers these items, and this language will be replaced with finalized language prior to this application advancing to City Council.
Job well done. Okay, Chris?
So this project has evolved a lot over the last few months, and planning has reviewed the text that has been provided and updated, and there are still outstanding comments that planning has with regards to commitments as to the location of parking, how the buildings orients to the streets, locations and orientation of the open space, the private open space within the site, as well as screening and landscaping elements along the southern edge of Bachman Road. So those pieces are still outstanding. There was previously a concept plan that showed, building placement, parking, et cetera. It's become more of a, an area bubble plan here. So planning is not currently in support as it stands. And if the commission is inclined to move this forward, we would ask that you condition that on, working out the details prior to the council.
Okay. And Kathy, are you sure?
The Recreation Parks perspective, there's text in here regarding land to be conveyed. Again, we've noted that this has become a little more conceptual than what we have earlier seen. So feel there's just a little more conversation needed to determine exactly where the parkland is and what the features are on it before it goes to city council, so that we have a better understanding of what we talked about preliminarily and where we will fund the land for exactly what parkland is going to be conveyed for the parking dedication ordinance.
Okay, anybody have any questions for that? We've got 3 question marks. Let me ask generally, are there any speakers regarding this application?
Sure.
One, not yet.
Tell me when. Dan Willenbrink, we're the developer.
Okay. All right, let me just put one thing out on the table before we get started. There have been many cases where we've had unfinished business on traffic, where there was too many jurisdictions, you couldn't get everybody all at the same table at the same time. Our duty is to vote, put a check mark in a box. Are you appropriate with your use, or are you not appropriate with your use? We don't get into what color you paint the trim and a lot of details. We advise the applicant that you're walking in with a blank check made out to the city traffic department, because you pretty much have to agree with what they request, whatever you work out, or you have to go start over and start the whole process over. You got to do that 3 times here: traffic, planning, and basically with recreation parks. So are you okay with moving forward and getting our vote on appropriate use with those things hanging over your head, or would you prefer to get that homework done first and then come back with a fixed position? You went from a plan, which was just a cartoon, but it was a basic stab at a plan. Now you just have sub areas. So give us your name for the record.
Dan Willenbrink, Tamarack Land Development.
Okay.
400 Tanglewood Lane, Marina, and St. Croix, Minnesota. We understand the items that are out there with the 3 agencies. We're committed to work with them and get a resolution. So we would like that box checked tonight.
All right, we'll do our best to move you through with the fact that if you don't get that worked out with either of these 3 folks, you got to start this whole thing over again. If you do get it worked out, you're on your way.
We understand.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, can I speak to some of the steps the applicant has taken to address some of the concerns?
Absolutely. Let me, after she speaks, sir, after she speaks to her comments, then we'll bring you up. Okay.
Just to start, staff is absolutely correct. This plan has evolved since the initial submittal. It started out as a residential PUD, and upon the developer being informed by staff last August about the sustainable housing shortage in Columbus, they pivoted to an apartment residential limited district, and that is the plan you see this evening. The flexibility and the departure from the initial greater detail is just, again, to allow flexibility. It is a straight zoning. It is an ARLD. It's not a PUD. And so we would submit that it does meet the requirements of the code regarding the level of detail at this stage. We understand that's disputed. I do want to speak to the commitments regarding traffic. They are substantial. After much negotiation, it was determined that Winchester Pike would stay in the county and the applicant was agreeable to that. They worked very hard in order to prepare lot splits and to dedicate additional right-of-way. It's not dedicated yet because we don't own it yet, but it's set aside for dedication. So they've split the parcels. They've set aside 120 feet of right-of-way along Winchester Pike. Again, that's per the county's guidelines on that. And they've also agreed to upgrade Winchester Pike to the county's standards that are requested, which is a sizable and costly improvement. They've also agreed to dedicate in sub-area A1 area to be set aside for the potential future realignment of Bachman Road. That's about 0.5 acres, and again, that's just being done to satisfy traffic commitments and in satisfaction of allowing that potential reconfiguration. We recognize these are township roads. We've committed, and this is again without the finalized study, to right turn lanes at Shannon Road in Winchester and turn lanes at Bixby and Winchester. We've also committed to a maintenance agreement with the Franklin County Engineers Office, as well as the construction of a signal on Winchester Pike Road as requested by that agency. And then finally, we've also got the shared use path that is going to be along, and this is in your text, along the southeast boundary of Winchester Pike and sidewalks on the northeast. So the applicant has been working on this. They have been making progress. I feel confident with traffic that when the study is finalized, it's about 2 more weeks of work. We'll be very close on that. We are working through a contribution regarding the Gender Road intersection improvement. And again, that is still subject to negotiation, but I want to highlight that we have tried to make progress on these items.
Okay.
And if I can speak to planning's comments, again, we have allowed for that connectivity that's referenced by C2P2. We do have the shared use path. We do have private streets here. We are connecting those private streets to the public kind of thoroughfares. There is some language in the text regarding design standards. There are sample elevations provided for sub-area A1, as indicated, that is age restricted to subject to a covenant. Sub-area A2, we showed elevations for those. The homes in sub-area A4 have some fairly, not homes, apartments. I'm typically doing this on another thing. But we've committed to dimensional shingles, vinyl shake siding, board and batten, and precast limestone, as you can see in the elevations. So we are working towards meeting some of the C2P2. And I think we could likely commit to some more level of that, but we don't want to commit to it now and then not be able to meet it. If we could work through that, perhaps at final site compliance with staff's approval, that would be appreciated. I'm just now hearing the issue with the parkland dedication, but we are dedicating 10 acres, and for the shortage, we'd certainly be willing to pay the fee, and we're willing to continue to work with Recs and Parks as well. So the applicant has been working on this and expects to continue to work on it, and understands that the approval would be conditional in nature at this time, subject to those items.
All right, sounds like you're on the right track across the board. One question jumps out at me. What is going on in the one undisclosed piece of, if you put that
I can do it first.
sub area there, the white polygon there, what is that?
What?
Oh, that's.
We don't know
And
that
what
property.
what number do you have nailed on your mailbox?
5,600.
Okay, well, GPS works in a funny way. Okay, unless you have anything more you like to add right now, I'm gonna have him come up and speak, and then we'll bring you back and if we have any questions. Okay, sir, if you come up to the table, give us your name.
Yeah.
We already know where you are.
Thomas Oliver Board, yes, 5,600. I just, we need to get a notice that this is happening to your property. It's like, nobody ever told me.
Yeah.
Better show up to a meeting where I don't even think I belong to the city of Columbus, so I don't even know why I'm here initially. I belong to Hamilton Township. They've treated me fine. I really don't need sewage or water, but I figure my address and I'm on it. I'm here.
All right, well, we want to make sure you're done right here.
It's just, I don't know how long I can live there because the neighbor lives next door to me. If you actually bring up the actual plot, and as you can see that other additional line there, the road seems to be going through her front door as you have your easements laid out. Being 60 feet off the center of the street, your wider.
Very close to the street.
Yes. I'm
Well-
set back, but mine will probably be the distance between me and you.
They can't
If it
really
comes
make
through.
promises for your piece.
I'm sorry.
They really can't make commitments on piece of property that you own as the owner of 5,600. But have you ever considered being part of this project and working?
Everybody has a price.
Well,
You guys know it as well.
and one of the things, one of the things we need to discuss with you as the owner of the
Polygon.
polygons is when they build, we need to talk about buffering between your land and what they're gonna do in developing their lands. So
Yeah.
you still have peace and quiet and pursuit of happiness.
That you tell, yeah, just one neighbor.
And that's a planning.
50% of the time, so that's good.
You seem like you're a decent guy. I mean, I wouldn't mind having a beer with you after work.
Well, right.
But, you know, these things need to hit the table.
Right,
At
that-
some point.
The reason I'm here, I just don't get it. Am I currently under the Columbus? My service is Columbus? So I call Madison Township, that's the reason this is so strange to me. It feels like, I'm talking in front of a group that, as of yet, doesn't have any control, am I correct?
I think this property is being annexed.
Can address
Okay,
the-
please.
Sorry, you're last.
That's okay.
This-
I just didn't know if I get to vote for it, because I know it's gonna affect my taxes,
You're not annexing. You don't
Okay.
need to worry about bringing your property in. That was part of the reason candidly that this annexation was complicated, as acknowledged by everybody. You cannot create an island of unincorporated territory with an annexation. We have not done that because the road is all still in the county. And it is.
Well, that's a weird looking island. Right, it's I'm on a peninsula.
And even when it was contemplated to bring the road in, and if the road were to come in, that I can
Yes.
Yeah.
still out of Columbus would always be excluded. And this was subject to much discussion.
But you would not be forced to knock down the house that's too close to the road because the road would have to squeeze by you. You know,
Well,
that's between other people.
I guess what I'm trying to say, if you look, the bend in that road, they can straighten it out, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
Comes right in my property, and I just know from living there, you gotta trust me on this one. When you get snow drifts and stuff, I get enough cars coming my way.
just.
Currently, because there's no buildings there, obviously. Now, that's gonna change, But, it's just, in the traffic light, I wasn't too sure because that Bachman intersection is kind of a blind corner. And they made mention about addressing, is that where the new traffic light is gonna be, at Bachman and Winchester Pike?
My guess is that when this gets developed, there'll be a traffic light and maybe a little bit of a traffic circle or something else to handle the traffic. That's way out of.
Okay. I just don't know how this works.
It's a slow, tedious process to get all the design and engineering correct. I think, I want to ask you straight up, are you okay with the development that's going to be around you and?
It's not as expected, but the whole thing is, it could be worse.
If you
It
start.
could be a tire recycling plant, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
look, it's not like I hate people. I'm not particularly keen of it, but it's just, trust me, I got my crazy sister out in Washington. It's like, look, I got picture of Mount Tacoma. It's like, it doesn't move. It means nothing to me, so.
Well,
It looks like a lot of traffic, and this is the other thing, and those buildings look taller than I've been introduced, okay? And the reason I want to say this, they're going to destroy my wells and water table to support buildings that high. My well is only 25 foot hand dug, and the other one for my irrigation system is 40 feet. Those are considered shallow wells that can easily be shut off by construction. I've seen it around the area before.
Well, I think there's steps in engineering that will address.
Just saying, but it seems like you're depriving me of Well, the road coming at me and water.
Let me ask you about utilities. Where are you getting your water and your sewer service from if and when you build this thing?
Yeah, it's Columbus, and we do have a sewer alignment that's shown. It requires some substantial offsite easements and an extension there. I do want to address, we have proposed more buffering around your home on the most recent submittal around your parcel. We do have more buffering
Is it
shown there for
current
you.
paperwork or is it in a guessing stage?
It's
Okay, okay.
detailed, so we have.
I guess it's a no.
Sure, we have given some additional buffering around that for you.
Well, and I would ask our planning expert to keep a careful eye on that as this goes through the write-ups that are going to follow, so that you can sit on your back patio and it's like nothing ever happened. You can't see it. It's not going to affect you. That's our goal.
Okay.
From where we sit.
Well, I just don't know where the authority, as Cartman would say, exists. And, so I'm in Madison Township, or somebody from Columbus walks on my property, I have to call Madison Township for police services in Columbus. It seems like I'm just kind of thrown out there on an island.
I would suggest that you talk with the applicant, get your contact information to them, and as these things evolve, you get notified as to what kind of plantings, what kind of fencing, what are you gonna see from your back patio as this goes forward?
Yeah, so it's reasonable.
And you should not be left out of that discussion.
Oh, I know the future's coming. I can't stop it.
Well, I think.
I just want to be reasonable
As long as
about.
you're happy with that in a reasonable
Right.
way. They got way bigger fish to fry.
Oh, I did, you're right.
And I think you're a great citizen. I'd like to be your neighbor.
That's a lot.
Okay, are you happy with what you heard so far?
I guess, I just didn't know exactly what's starting, but it seems like it's early. But I wanted to say, think about that weird intersection there because of how it intersects. It's like I help out enough people pull them out ditches as it is. Okay?
We know, there are many projects. There's never been a nut in the last 2 or 3 years that we didn't have to approve at least one case on the hypothetical fact that they weren't ready with the traffic issues yet because there's Franklin County, the state of Ohio, there's all these jurisdictions that have a say and they're hard to hurt.
Yeah, when I had my business in Canal Winchester, it was where ODOT, I think 9, 8, and 7 met. Redoing the overpass in Gender Road. Well, I eventually shut off my road. I had to go out of business because I lost my access to 33, unbeknownst to me. And then it took 2 months for the divisions didn't even talk together. There'd be, boom, 7 putting up a detour here, 9 on the other side, and 8, right next to each other. It just happened to where the districts merged, but it's just nobody wanted to coordinate.
Well, I think that when this is all built out, and it may take 10 years for this to get built out, when it's all built out, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some sort of a traffic circle to handle the diagonal kind of dynamics at that intersection. I can't predict the future, but I see that as a likelihood.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of other places in Columbus.
Hey, Chair, can I interrupt
Yes.
for a second? So I just wanted to add something. I think what we're gonna do is give this case a new address to avoid confusion because 5600 Winchester Pike is not being
Right.
annexed into the city.
That's what I mean. It seems so weird. It's like,
It probably got generated from our map room.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just a zoning number. It really doesn't mean anything. So we'll get
Right.
another address to.
No, that's fine. It was weird. I can see how that happens. And what do you want to call
What's your lucky number?
it? I don't own it. I already have my 5600, You have to ask her, what's your lucky number?
Okay, 5650.
Now, am I seeing water on that map?
What from?
Right here.
The top
Yes,
right
I am.
corner.
That's floodplain.
Floodplain, okay, it doesn't look like it's wiped out here. Yeah, okay.
Okay, let's we appreciate your input. You're a delight to work with.
I'm pretty sure they'll be a hold of me. They want
You
my,
can always put a little teeny pond and name it Moore Pond.
Well, that's a good idea. Put some,
Onyx, so we can grow all the stuff.
put some yellowfin tuna in.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're good with all these
Yeah, I just.
ifs and whats that you've got to deal with as you move forward with city council?
Yes,
You've got,
understand.
you made a good start and you're breaking some serious ground here. It took, I'd say 10 years to get the planning for the southeast area actually even down on paper with Miss Judy White. I mean, it was not a fast effort. And you're not in that area, so keep doing what you're doing. We've got to vote on what we think is reasonable or is it not reasonable.
We just appreciate all of the time and attention that all of the city staff have devoted to this and the quick turnarounds. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have a comment or a question of the applicant?
Keep your neighbor happy.
He's pretty happy now. Okay, I need a motion to vote.
No move.
We're in the field. Okay, please call the roll. All right, I guess we need to have a voice vote. You got to do more to get a second. All those in favor of voting on case number 9?
Do we need to make a conditional motion on this or not? No.
It's way too much to put into language, so.
Right.
Yeah.
So all in favor of what voting?
All in favor of voting on this application with all the caveats of traffic, planning, and Parks and Recreation to be committed to their satisfaction before you get to city council. Otherwise, come back to us and start the whole process over. Okay, that's understood. It's in the record. This microphone's putting it in the record. And we are now ready to call the roll.
David Carey,
Yes.
Denise D. Shanklin,
Yes.
John Ingwerson,
Yes.
Kay Mukwe,
Yes.
Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes. So we vote that you have a reasonable and appropriate use. Now that here's the baton you need to run.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Get the state board to turn on.
Okay, we need to have a motion from somebody there on the table whose name is not Nwokwe or Ingwerson to adjourn. Move to adjourn. Carry vote, Tori moves. Denise, okay. All those in favor of adjournment? Okay, we're.
Yeah, so that sounds real quick. Thought I would have to leave early. Here we go.
Hey, nice staff, all staff did a good job.
On Sheridan's, that's Congress.
Conversation.
Yeah, check with you on that.